Tonight on the Vince Dow Show, Anthony Weiner. Yeah, that Anthony Weiner, the Anthony Weiner that did 2 years in jail for sexually related crimes, is back in public life and defending, running cover for Hillary Clinton, because that's a really good look for the Clinton family, right? Also, drama, trouble in a dystopian paradise on the left as Anna Kasparian is in beef with Lance from the Serfs because Anna believes that 9-month abortion is not a good idea. We'll give you the coverage and kind of grab our popcorn and laugh at the whole situation. Also, Piers Morgan debates a vegan. We'll tell you how it went. And Vivek Ramaswamy now tied with Ron DeSantis. That's at least according to one poll. We will give you all of our thoughts and analysis tonight on the Vince Dow Show. Stay tuned, everyone. And we are live tonight from the great state of Florida. Welcome, everyone, to the Vince Dow Show. It is July 20th, the year of our Lord, 2023. And I am your galaxy-brained host, Vince Dow. Before we begin, everyone be sure to leave a like right now on the stream or replay and subscribe to the channel if you are new. And as usual, if you do want to support the show tonight or you got questions or comments that you want read and answered on the stream, feel free to send them in via the super chats. I, as usual, check the super chats in between every one of our segments. And as usual, we do our Q&A portion at the end. All right, folks, we got quite an interesting show for you tonight. You know, the political news cycle a little bit slow, but a lot of drama, okay? Isn't that interesting how that works? Whenever the politics is dead, internet people come in and cause a lot of drama. So we got Anthony Weiner on the Patrick Bet David podcast. It is absolutely insane to me that Anthony Weiner shows his face anywhere in public, but we got that to talk about. Also, Anna Kasparian, in another sort of mask off, breaking the script moment, is in actually a beef with Lance from Surfs TV over the abortion issue. We'll talk about that. Again, we got a veganism debate to react to tonight because I promised a very long time ago we would talk on this channel more about veganism, and I never did it. So we got that covered with Piers Morgan, and also got to talk a little bit about the 2024 race. So that's the show tonight. Again, be sure to leave a like before you begin. And without further ado, let us get into the Hour of Dow tonight. Well, I want to start today by talking about the video of the day, okay? So remember Anthony Weiner? All right, if you guys, I think I have to do the context here. Who exactly is Anthony Weiner? Because we probably have a lot of viewers on this channel who are not involved in politics back then, probably younger, even younger than I am, and might not remember. So long story short, Anthony Weiner was a very prominent Democrat politician. They wanted him to run for president in the future at some point, okay, long story short, so let's just give the rundown. So this guy essentially is one of the most notorious sex pests, freaks, perverts, right, in the history of American politics. So in about 2011, he got thrown out of Congress. He had to resign because he accidentally tweeted a photo of his crotch, okay? And he has this long record, all these sexually related scandals. He's a creep. He is disgusting. And of course, he has the last name Weiner, which is quite an unfortunate last name there. But the big thing about him, right, is he's gone to jail for this, okay? In 2015, Anthony Weiner was sentenced to nearly 2 years in prison for sexting with a 15-year-old girl, okay? So you would think that's a scandal that is immediately discrediting, right? You're never going to be back. You're going to jail for sexting a 15-year-old girl. I mean, to me, that easily constitutes pedophilia. I think that's the definition of pedophilia. But according to the judge in this case, he said, no, there was no pedophilic intent, blah, blah, blah. And I think you correlate the two, right? Like I said, this guy's not just a typical establishment Democrat. This guy for many years was close friends with specifically Hillary Clinton, right? He's one of those Democrats, and so I think you understand how he manages to be so easily protected by the system. Again, sexting a 15-year-old girl. So the judge is like, okay, I gotta send you to jail. But even then, right? They say, oh, it's not pedophilia. We'll let you off easy. Well, it's a totally, again, scum, degenerate. Guy should be in jail for life. But it tells you a lot about how our political system works, right? To people who think that, all the Hillary Clinton stuff is such a conspiracy theory, bro. Okay, this guy's been let out of jail for 2 years. But then you would think, okay, maybe if that's the case, he's gonna step out of public eye forever, right? Wouldn't you expect you would never see this guy ever again? Again, this guy went to jail as a politician for sexting with a 15-year-old. Nope, it turns out just a few years later, he is back in the public eye, and actually, as of now, he has his own radio show on WABC New York. So ABC in New York City has given this guy a radio show. He is back to basically the mainstream in liberal politics, and he's doing all these podcasts and stuff. Well, he did make the grave mistake today of going on the Patrick Bet David podcast, where Patrick Bet David asked him a lot of different questions, but this was the most telling moment of it all. So now that we've contextualized and you recall, hopefully, who exactly this Anthony Weiner individual is, the wiener that he is, right? So check this out. Patrick grills him on this question of the Clinton body count. I'm sure everyone knows what that is. This is the alleged just observation, we will say. You know, we're not going to allege anything. YouTube, of course, I'm not suicidal. I would never kill myself. But the sort of idea out there, the observation people have that a lot of people around the Clinton family, former associates, seem to turn up missing and dead. Okay, that's just the question we are asking. He asked this question here to Anthony Weiner, again, who is, like I said, longtime friend of Hillary Clinton. And check out the response. Basically, Anthony Weiner has a complete mental breakdown on camera. So check this out.
Served in the military and dragging their name.
I have a reputation to ask tough questions and piss some people like you off. That's my reputation.
Including dead people who I'm going to stand up for.
Oh, trust me, we are standing up for them more than you are standing up for them.
Let's see. You better get back to that list because we're going to clear some people's names today.
My question for you is, how is it that in the last 50 years, we don't have a single candidate? Everybody has their own. Hey, John F. K. was a playboy with Marilyn Monroe. Trump, Karen McDougal, Stormy Daniels. You know, George Bush linked to 9/11 and weapons of mass destruction. Bill Clinton linked to Arkansas women, all this others. Everybody has a reputation. How is it that the reputation that follows them is people close to them die? Why is that a story that many people believe in? Why is that?
Are the Clintons in their 70s yet? You don't think I can make a list of other people who are 70-something years old and say this person died, that person died, this person died? Hold on.
Yeah, no, you can't. Okay, because first of all, you don't think I can make up a list where a bunch of people around them mysteriously died in accidents and suicides? Yeah, I guess that's totally normal, right? How many of you guys know that? You know, your 70-year-old can they just, here's how many friends I had that died by suicide. Again, I would never kill myself. I'm not alleging or accusing anyone of anything. Just saying that argument itself is pretty ridiculous. Also, it's just the physiognomy and the mannerism here of Anthony Weiner. It just says everything, doesn't it? The guy's a weasel. The guy is so just slimy and evil, frankly. And you can just sense that in him. But anyways, let's keep playing.
How come they haven't done that with Bush?
Oops.
She's in the same age.
I have no freaking idea why they haven't
done that with Trump.
So are you saying, so you agree with what I'm saying?
How come they haven't done that with Reagan?
So
how come they haven't done that with Kerry?
What point are you making about these men and women who you listed?
How is it so many people close to them die? How is it so many people close to them?
Everybody dies.
How is it so many?
Okay,
I'm asking the question.
You're asking a bizarre question.
Exactly.
Did people die?
You
Did people die? No. What pisses me off, and I'm going to say this again because you apparently are not listening to me. You read a list of people off an obscure website of conspiracy theory, taking a Venn diagram of everyone that ever worked in the orbit of someone who served in public life for 50 years, and you listed them, including people in the military, including strangers you could not pull out of and you are implying that there's something nefarious. Let me finish my thought. Let me finish my thought.
Please do so, because I got another source coming in here for you.
You're implying both with the question and with the website. The website says it explicitly. You're implying it. Let me finish.
Go ahead.
You're implying that something.
You are implying until he's done. Go for it.
You are implying that something.
Notice how
nefarious
defensive he gets, right? And so, by the way, I've watched a lot of this podcast. I skimmed through the whole thing. So just understand, this is not how he is the entire time. He's an unhinged lunatic, and he's an arrogant, and he's a douchebag, and he's one of the least likable people ever. But it is only on this question specifically that he gets so unbelievably defensive. And what does that say, right? And to me, that immediately screamed, hold on a minute, that's a little suspicious. Other people provided an alternative theory, which is actually the reason he's so defensive is because he himself is scared to have to confront the question because, you know, I don't know. However way you want to look at it, though, it does tell you a lot. He just gets so angry at this and melts down. But let's finish this up here.
And with the list, Hillary Clinton, she's a big girl. I'm a big boy. You're a big boy. The people that you just listed,
they're all.
Listen to me. No, these are obscure people that you could not pull out.
Great politician, buddy.
Wait a minute, hold on.
Fantastic.
You know what? You are the classic bully. You list someone's name, and are you going to go back and clarify it? Are you going to go clarify it?
You know what
are you going to clarify this list?
Is. You
I don't
want to really know that.
Ad hominem attack on me is going to.
Ad hominem, by the way. You know, there's a lot of ad hominem I could use on you that would actually apply and be perfectly appropriate to say. But it's ad hominem to say you're acting like a bully, right? I don't know. Whatever. He's just unhinged. By the way, look at like the physiognomy difference here. Okay, Patrick Bet David, Bill Armenian Chad. Look at Scott Weiner. He's just a weasel, okay? I believe this to be true. You can see the differences just in individuals here. This guy is a weasel. Anyways,
somehow clear that person's name.
There isn't anybody at this table that's a bigger bully than you.
I tell you. Oh yeah, you just listed some stranger with
very
PFC.
Good deceptive
with PFC.
way of pinning. Good
Look
for
at
you guys.
You're reading some.
Good for you.
You're reading a conspiracy website.
Good for you.
Some people say.
Yeah.
Some people say.
Pull up the Wikipedia
look at that fucking
Rabbi
website.
just sent to you. Pull up the Wikipedia. Is Wikipedia a conspiracy website?
You want to take?
No.
You want to take a run at me? Bring it all day, pal.
No, hey,
bring it all day.
Sweetheart.
Take a run at
Clinton body count.
Conspiracy theory, right at the top. Wait, can I throw a mic I can drop? Conspiracy, right at the top.
What's the point with that?
The point is conspiracy theories are by their very definition unsubstantiated.
How come other people don't have this conspiracy theory? How come
question.
Reagan doesn't have this conspiracy theory?
Oh, wait a minute,
How come Bush doesn't have this conspiracy
Newsflash
theory?
on the PDB podcast,
How come John Kerry
people
doesn't
say
have this
shit about the
conspiracy theory?
Clintons. Oh, wow, really?
Why do they, though? Some
Why
of the
do they?
stereotypes are true. Like, you have some reputation. It's true, some of it. Some of the stuff they say about other people is true.
That's not a stereotype. That's a made-up story about strangers.
How come others don't have that made-up story?
People have it all the time. Look at the internet.
Give me another body count with another president or candidate. Give me another person.
Do you really think that someone within the...
Do me a favor and pull up another
think...
Barack Obama body count.
Do you really think... Oh, you want to go... Why don't you go to Barack Obama, not born in this country? By the way, where was that?
He wasn't. Thank you, Anthony.
Podcast. Did you guys do that one?
No. That's never anything we discussed.
Oh, why? Oh, come on. Some people say it.
Anthony,
there's a
This guy's just such a clown, dude.
Thing on it. Huh. These people are strangers that you just read a list of, and I...
See, here's the thing, right? Like I said, I'm not here to comment on the whole Clinton body count thing because, of course, I would never kill myself, okay? I'm not suicidal, for the record. But all I'm saying is it says a lot that... Of all questions, he just asked you, by the way, he just asked you, why do you think this conspiracy theory exists, right? That's the question. Like, why do you think this exists? Why does this reputation exist? And the guy goes absolutely mental, okay? So I'm just saying, okay, I'm not saying he does, because of course I would never kill myself, but as an outside observer, what are you thinking immediately when you see this? He must know something, or maybe he himself is scared of the same thing happening to him, or who knows? I don't know. I'm just saying, you look at this, you kind of see it, right? You kind of see it in him, and I think you can just see in his personality. Like I said, the guy's a weasel, the guy's a scumbag. But here's the second clip of this I wanted to react to, just to give you an idea of what Hillary Clinton's best friend is out here saying. Here he is now, this is later in the podcast, he denies the existence of a political establishment. So Patrick Bet David's basically, and he's just talking about the establishment. Everyone agrees there's an establishment, right? Well, Anthony Weiner actually says there's no such thing as the establishment. So, you know, the institution you feel like, you know, there's kind of a class and power and there's elites. Actually, that's not even real. There's no such thing as an establishment in power. Thank you for the 5 Canadian Republican thinker, by the way. We'll read it in a second. But
I think RFK is the complete opposite of a person that says, what difference does that make? And he wants to find out if the establishment is a real thing and how much power they got.
I hear you.
That's all it is.
I hear you.
Yeah.
And I know that some people say things. I get that. This notion of establishment is the hobgoblin of little minds. We are...
Do you get that? Do you get that? You believe in the establishment that I'm clearly a part of? Because, you know, he literally did sex crimes with underage girls and got away with it. Basically, he's back into public life. But there's no such thing as an establishment. Do not worry. You think that you believe there's a political establishment? That's conspiracy theory. Yeah, okay, Anthony Weiner. Okay.
A country.
This guy's the prime example that a political establishment does exist.
Different places that are very divided, and the people
no
that go into
normal guy
government
could get away with this.
Are
literally
come from all different places. Sometimes they're politically appointed. Usually they're not. And this notion of an establishment, if there's so many instances, if there was an establishment, that things would have gone very differently.
Yeah, like if there was an establishment, a certain politician who was very close friends with the Clinton family would somehow, again, sex the 15-year-old girl knowingly, go to jail for it, and then just come back into public life like it's nothing. That's an establishment right there. Because Donald Trump could never get away with that. Matt Gaetz could never get away with that. None of these people can get away with that. You can get away with it. Why? Because you're very close friends with, you know.
We want to blame someone. We want an explanation.
The reptile lady.
Life does not give you, Patrick, narratives that are all so tight. Sometimes people just disagree on stuff. Sometimes people just are wrong about stuff.
Yeah, totally fine.
So, like this whole idea that everything has to be some kind of a conspiracy or an establishment. There's no establishment out there. It's just a bunch of...
There's no establishment out there. Anthony Weiner, 2023. Oops, I muted it. Oops, my bad.
In the establishment today.
I'm in America.
I would go Mitch McConnell.
You're the establishment.
You
guys are you're a $5 million $5 million
on
YouTube. Well, that's establishment.
You're a comedian, is what you are.
Are you guys bigger or smaller than MSNBC?
The swamp is the establishment.
Are you bigger or smaller than MSNBC?
You get more eyeballs.
Okay,
that makes us an establishment? No, you know what it tells you?
MSNBC is literally called the mainstream media.
is a talking point for whatever the establishment wants them to say.
Who's the biggest cable company in America?
Fox, because there's only one of them.
Yeah.
There's only one of them.
Fox News is establishment too. You know, let me just say that, right? The idea of an establishment is that there is just uniparty, right? So there's a controlled left and there's a controlled right. So yeah, there are establishment Republicans, Anthony Weiner. I don't know what you're trying to prove by that. And I would argue Fox News, especially nowadays, is the epitome of the establishment Republicans, right? When what do? They gatekeep real conservatives. They won't let Tucker Carlson on the network. They fired him, obviously, you know? I told this story about the other night about how they wouldn't let me on the network. They, you know, they all sorts of like authentic conservative people, you know, they never let on. That's the whole point of an establishment, because obviously you have to have what's called controlled opposition. In order to have an establishment, you have to have controlled opposition too. So you saying Fox News is the biggest cable company in America? Sure, that's true. It's probably not going to be true for long, but it's true for now. But they're establishment too. There's an establishment paradigm. And there's a reason why someone like Donald Trump on the right gets blackballed by the establishment, and why someone like an RFK on the left. Same thing, right? Now, I'd argue it happens less so on the left, but it's still true. There is an establishment, right? So that shouldn't be hard to understand.
99% of
Are
everybody
they the
else is the opposite
establishment?
side. No, absolutely not.
Of course they are.
By the way,
they're a giant multinational corporation with the most watched TV
network. Let me restate
network.
that. Let me restate that.
Well, no, they are. I'll give them that. They are the
Rupert Murdoch's not
establishment.
established.
Let me
Of course he
restate
is.
that. Yes, I don't disagree. On
Okay,
the part with,
so Rupert Murdoch did everything he could to stop Hillary Clinton. So
No,
then you have two members of the
Rupert-
establishment. So
That's
who's the
called
establishment in that
controlled
case?
opposition.
It's two sides of the same coin.
No, guys. So I'm sitting. So for me,
so-
Yes.
Okay,
for the
hold on.
longest
Yes,
time,
exactly.
For the longest
exactly.
time,
It's
Anthony.
two sides
Hillary.
of the same coin.
No,
That's what we're
that's
saying.
He was working for Trump.
It would have been Jeb Bush and Hillary
Yeah.
who would have been establishment. That's the establishment.
Correct.
Okay, the Kennedys weren't the establishment. They're the anti-establishment.
I know, but
Anyways, so there's the Anthony Weiner clips. Okay,
I think
just wanted
RFK is the.
Just wanted to play those, okay? Like I said, I have no idea how the guy manages to still exist in public life, but he's just as much of a weasel and a wiener as he was back then. So there it is. Let me know your thoughts, but we will do some super chats here and then move on to our Anna Kasparian story. We got to talk about the drama over at the Young Turks. But really quickly, let me get here to these super chats Republican Thinker for $5 says, update, I finally got a Logitech Brio 4K. We'll start up a channel once I get my own place, hopefully this year. Well, thank you for the $5 Republican Thinker, and be sure to let us know what the channel is. By the way, I think the name Republican Thinker could work just fine, you know. People might say, oh, well, Republican, we don't like the Republicans, we like the conservatives. It's all semantics in terms of titling it. I think you should keep that name, run with it. Republican Thinker, I like the name for that YouTube channel, and we'll definitely be sure to go check it out. Thank you for the $5 Republican Thinker, I appreciate it. And we got a $3 Canadian, all the Canadians coming in tonight. Shout out to the Canadians. Oh, Canada. Shout out Terrence and Phillip. Sash McFlash for $3 says, you called Anthony Scott. No two wieners are alike. Did I accidentally do that? Did I call him Scott Weiner? So for those of you guys who are not updated on the wieners in this country, so there's Anthony Weiner, who is the guy, like I said, you know, close friend of Hillary Clinton, back in the day, as in a few years ago, put in jail for sexting minors. That's that Anthony Weiner. There's also this guy, he's a state legislator in California named Scott Weiner. And Scott Weiner is very historically known, like his big thing is he's always standing up for the LGBT stuff, right? All this, you know, the stuff in the schools, Child Drag Queen Story Hour, all that stuff. He's the biggest defender. And of course, you know, unfortunately for him, his last name also is Weiner, which tells you a lot. I don't know if Anthony and Scott Weiner are related. If someone wants to give me confirmation on that, I'm not sure. But it is very interesting. There's two notable Democrats named Weiner, and both of them are absolute perverts. So I don't know. Maybe there's something to be said about name physiognomy. You know what I mean? Just the way names communicate certain things. I don't know. They're both named Weiner, and they both seem to be obsessed with wieners. So, yeah, I mean, there's something to be said there. I have no idea. But thanks for the super chats, guys. Again, I'll read them here in between all of our different segments. But, all right, folks. Well, there's Anthony Weiner. Let's move on here to our next story of the night, which, of course, has to do with TYT's Ana Kasparian, folks. So let me size up the screen properly so we can give correct credence here to this topic. So, folks, as we've been covering sort of recently on this channel, Ana Kasparian, who's one of the progressive hosts at the TYT, right, at the Young Turks. This is not a Republican. This is not a conservative. Very progressive woman, but as of late, she's been having something of this character arc where, you know, she's not really even saying conservative things. She's just calling out the absolute most lunacy of leftists, right? A few months ago, she went out and said, I am a woman. Don't call me a birthing person. I'm a woman. I don't like that. She has said, well, if we're serious about climate change, why don't we support nuclear energy? All this different type of stuff. And apparently now recently she is in beef with Lance from Surfs TV over this. So you may remember this, right? Lance is the guy, this leftist right here, who went on Tim Pool's show and says that he supports 9-month abortions, okay? And so Ana Kasparian is basically under fire from some people for saying that she does not support 9-month abortions because that is, for most Americans in this country, completely insane. But just to give you a refresher, here is Lance from Surfs TV talking about how he supports 9-month abortion on the Tim Pool show. So check it out.
No. Hold on. Colorado legalized abortion in up to 9 months with no medical reason required. Do you agree with that?
I agree with that decision.
Okay, so you got that there, right? Colorado legalized abortion up to 9 months. Do you agree with that? He says, I agree with that. This, of course, infamously went down as one of the craziest things we've ever seen in left-wing YouTube history. I mean, full mask off. He supports 9-month abortion. So just remember that. Let's play that as a refresher here. Let's get into this. Now, Lance from Surfs TV, who actually blocked me on Twitter for some odd reason. I'm not even able to play it. But he went out and pointed out, because Anna went on this show called Adam and Sitch, saying basically, I disagree with Lance. Most people do. I do not support 9-month abortion. And I'm sorry. That's on my bad, guys. I have to use a burner account because Lance actually blocked me on Twitter. But basically, Lance went on to say all this stuff about how Ana Kasparian misrepresented my viewpoints, and I don't support 9-month abortion. And then, so just understand that with the clip we just played, yes, he does. He literally does, and he went out and said that. But, of course, he's under, like I said, But, well, like I said, Anna Kasparian, she did the bold and radical and crazy thing to literally just go out there and say, I disagree with that. I don't support 9-month abortion. And now they're in this big beef over it, okay? And like I said, I wish I could show you more. I totally forgot that Lance straight up blocked me on Twitter. So that kind of stonewalls our coverage of the story here. But here's what I'll say about Anna Kasparian, okay? You know, I really do go back and forth because, and I want your guys' thoughts on this. Is it a matter of she is moving to the right, or is the left just moving increasingly to the left? Because I think what we're seeing with her, more so than a Dave Rubin arc where he kind of comes over, or at least sort of like identifies with the conservatives more so, I think we're sort of seeing a Bill Maher thing where Anna sort of genuinely subscribes to the things that the left once proclaimed to be about, say, you know, 10 to 15 years ago. So she's like, you know, I genuinely do believe in free speech, and I genuinely do believe in real feminism, not transgender feminism, stuff like that. I think that's sort of the character arc you're seeing with her. I think she's undergoing this sort of Bill Maher transformation, and as you can imagine, her audience on the left is not happy with her, and, you know, she's constantly now fighting with other people on the left, and we'll see where it ends up. We'll see where it goes. What I will say, and this is the hope for Anna. I doubt this will ever happen, but this is the hope. And this is the same hope for Bill Maher, even someone like a Tulsi Gabbard and RFK, which is, you know, very often you have these types out here who consider themselves classical liberals. They say, well, I always believed in what liberals said. So, you know, I always believed in the feminism and the free speech and all of this stuff. And I don't understand now how the left is seemingly counteracting all of those things, right? They don't believe in free speech. They're not advocating for women because they're advocating to put men in the women's spaces and all of that stuff. But I think the ultimate kind of red pill moment, the ultimate realization, right? And this is something, like I said, when I was very young, like as in 7th grade, I was sort of center left, kind of like an anti-woke Bill Maher leftist. The realization I had when I was very young was actually, no, all of this stuff is liberalism, right? It's just simply the end consequence of liberalism, because when you look back to the history of liberalism, for instance, the free speech movement, right? The free speech movement of the 1960s that used to define American liberalism. Understand this, right? It was never about free speech. It was never even about equality, or frankly, even about something like a diversity, right? Understand what liberalism fundamentally and how that has descended into leftism, because people always say, well, you know, real liberalism isn't leftism. No, I would argue it is. It's just a roadmap towards the same place, right? It's different points on the same slippery slope. Where the end goal of liberalism has always been headed is they plan to use these concepts like individualism, tolerance, equality, diversity to basically upend tradition, right? Upend traditional values. And so this is why liberals used to call themselves individualists. They said, well, look, liberate yourself as an individual from the constraints that these, you know, pesky conservatives believe in. Because what do conservatives truly believe in? Conservatives at their core are not really individualists, right? We believe in tradition. So we believe in God, family, country, right? We believe you have an obligation to these things. A true conservative does, right? That's why we are patriotic, because we don't just exist as individuals. We care about our communities. We care about our country, right? But what did the liberals come along in the 1960s and say? They said, well, you know, you don't have to do these things. Free speech, individualism, just be you, right? And I think there's people like Anna Kasparian and Bill Maher who genuinely believe that. They believe that's what the left has been about, this just be you individualism. But understand, those things have always been a ploy, right? The real ploy is just get rid of the conservative order. And once people are liberated, once we have individualism and equality and all this stuff, in the vacuum of that, because human beings are naturally always going to be slaves to something, right? In the vacuum of that, then they push leftism. Then they say, okay, don't be loyal to God, be loyal to the state. Don't be loyal to your family, you know, be loyal to the school system, you know, kids, right? Don't listen to your parents, listen to us, right? That's really what they're doing in the power vacuum here. And, you know, that's my message to all these disaffected liberals. Listen, I get where you are. When I was very young, I was where you are, but it's time to come home and truly realize that the left has never stood for these things. They cried them when they didn't have the power. That's a good way to explain it, right? When they didn't have the power, they were marching and saying for free speech because the, you know, normal people in the country were saying, you guys sound insane. But now that they have the seat at the table, now that they actually have all the power, you're seeing what they're doing with it because you're seeing what it's always been about, right? It's never been about, for the left, it's never been about free speech, equality, tolerance, diversity, whatever they say. Those have always been slogans and dogmas, ultimately, like I said, to upend tradition. Equality or equity, whatever's a big one, right? What is affirmative action about? What are these diversity quotas about? It's to upend the people historically who were in charge and have the power in this country and just push different people in, right? Destroy the traditional power structure with these slogans that most people, at least on the surface, tend to like. And then once you've done that, you know, then you push the leftism. So my hope for Anna like I said, I don't think it'll ever happen. My hope, though, for Anna Kasparian, for Bill Maher, for all these disaffected liberal types, in my message to them is that I truly do hope you realize, hopefully at some point, that, you know, what you believe as a old school liberal is just a different point along the same slippery slope, right? So Anna Kasparian, pro-choice, prime example of this, right? You support abortion and all that stuff, but you don't support it at 9 months. Well, understand, once the cat's out of the bag, once you start saying life does not start at conception, what happens? Then the only really logical other answer is life starts at what, birth? Or maybe post-birth, whatever. So, you know, logically speaking, where are the leftists going to go on this? They're going to go all the way to 9-month abortion. That's what I think people like Anna Kasparian and Bill Maher have to understand. I don't know if they ever will. You know, a lot of people tend to be stubborn in their ways, but at least we can at least hope that maybe that happens. I don't know. But let me know your thoughts. Where do you think the Anna Kasparian character arc is headed next? Do you think that she is just going to kind of do the Bill Maher thing where she's a hardcore liberal, but every now and then she kind of calls out the PC, calls out the woke, says it's stupid? Or do you think she's going to have a hardcore arc where she's basically like Dave Rubin, where, you know, she fully embraces the right wing? I don't know. It's an interesting question. I tend to lean more. I think she's going to kind of go more the Bill Maher route, but we'll have to see. I don't know. We'll have to see. So let me know. Let me know, folks, what you guys think. But all right, folks, let's get caught up here on more super chats, and then we got to go on to this veganism debate. Chat, we got a veganism debate to react to tonight. It will be quite fun. But let's get caught up here on our super chats. By the way, I'm reading them right now if you want to, you know, get one in right now. But here we go. All right, we got Andrew M for 2 Canadian says Anna is more conservative than a typical Canadian conservative. You know, this is true. The Conservative Party in I truly do feel bad for you Canadians, because whatever you guys call the Conservative Party, it's not even conservative. It's like, it's basically the Democratic Party in America, like the establishment Democratic Party. And then I'd say your main party, what is it? Your Liberal Party? What's Justin Trudeau's party? That's like, I don't know, the Rashida Tlaib squad kind of. Yeah, so it is true. You're right, though. That's a good point. Feel bad for the Canadians, but it's true. Anna Kasparian is more conservative than the Conservative Party in Canada. I've never looked at it like that, but it is like genuinely so true. All right, we got another super chat here. Omar for $5 says, been a member for a while, but my first super chat. Well, thank you, Omar. Appreciate it. Oops, my bad, lol. Any news on your after party interview setup? Okay, good question on that front. So we have it basically set up. I just bought some wood stuff today, like a wood background. We're going to go Joe Rogan mode. So yeah, we're going to set that up. I'm just working on, it's summertime right now, so it's a little bit slower, but people are starting to move back in for school and stuff. So hopefully when the semester starts, I want to have a full roster set up, right? So we've done a little bit of reaction content, by the way, just like conservative on conservative on that front. But yeah, I'm hoping by next month we can get maybe every Friday or so, we'll kind of do a panel. There's going to probably be some nights where it's just the conservative panel, but yeah, the setup's ready to go. I've actually used it in a few videos here and there, but yeah, it's coming for sure. Like I said, by next month, I hope to make it a full thing. The only other front I gotta get handled is the legal part, right? Because my whole thing is, if I'm going to be bringing liberals and leftists into the place to do this podcast and stuff, I feel like there's probably some legal stuff I have to have them sign, and I got to get that stuff figured out. Any law students want to help me with that, let me know. But yeah, thank you for the 5 American, I should say, Omar. I appreciate it. And yeah, by next month, it'll be good to go. We already have some content using that studio, by the way. But all right, here we go. Dirty Mike for $5 says, you're comparing leftists to leftists, not liberals to leftists. The people you think were the original liberals weren't. They were just leftists too. I get what you're saying, Dirty Mike. Thank you for the 5, but you could arguably trace it all the way back to the Enlightenment and kind of see the slippery slope there. Well, there too, right? I think a prime example is kind of classical liberalism was one component. I would not argue it's the only component, but it was one component of the American Revolution. And then look at the successor of the American Revolution, right? The French Revolution. That descended immediately into leftism, using some of what America said, and then it descended into leftism entirely. So I think you could make that argument. But thank you for the $5, Dirty Mike. I appreciate it. And the last super chat here, Rowley Gonzalez for $2 says, cool seeing you at SAS. And thanks for commending the fit. Yeah, it's true. Rowley, thank you for the 2. You know, I love to see us having a real world impact because, you know, last time I saw Rowley Gonzalez, no insult, but he wasn't really, you know, he just looked like he was whatever, like casual clothing. I saw him at SAS. Okay, I saw him at SAS. He goes to these political events. And this guy now looks like a Chad. Okay, he's growing into mustache. It looks good. He had nice clean clothes on. And he told me, he said that my little monologue about how conservative men need to actually carry themselves well and dress well and do all that stuff and why that stuff matters, he said it inspired him to do that. And so now he looks, you should see this transformation, and we need to side by side. This guy looks like a king now. So appreciate it, Rowley Gonzalez, and glad to see the messages breaking through with someone. Thank you for the $2. I appreciate it. And last one here, Sash McFlash for 3 Canadians says, do a YAF in Detroit or Buffalo for the Canadians. Thank you for the 3, Sash McFlash. I mean, I'd be absolutely down. Someone just invite me. Anyone at the University of Buffalo? I know they had Michael Knowles this year. Someone bring me out. Someone invite me for sure. I would definitely be down to speak there. Thank you for the 3 Canadian. And yeah, I don't know. If you go to school in those areas, let me know. Let me know. By the way, guys, let's get the stream to 100 likes. And as usual, if you guys do want to super chat to support the show, it is greatly appreciated. But let us move on here, folks, to our next story. Let's talk about veganism. All right, let's talk about veganism. So, Piers Morgan today did a debate with this vegan activist, and he brought Tommy Lahren in to counter the vegan activists. And what can I say? It was just content. We're going to sit down and watch it. Some of you know how much I like dogging on and dunking on vegans. So let's just get right into this, and I'll give you my thoughts as we go, okay? Let's take a look.
Welcome back to Piers Morgan Uncensored. Celebrities are denouncing veganism en masse. The market for plant-based gruel's fallen off a cliff. It's increasingly likely that the rest of the world agrees with me, which is often what happens with issues. Infamous activist Tash Peterson, better known as Vegan Booty, is on a mission to change people's minds by all means necessary. So is veganism here to stay, or as dead as a steak on my plate later this evening? I'm joined by Vegan Booty, Tash Peterson, and Outkick host and Fox commentator Tommy Lahren. All right, would you go by the name Vegan or Vegan, Miss Booty, or what?
Tash Peterson.
Vegan Booty.
Tash.
What a serious name. Okay, by the way, guys, just want to point this out before we start. So she has a shirt on that says "End this Holocaust." Okay, and that's her whole vegan thing is Holocaust. Okay. Now, I'm not here to get offended or oh my god, but imagine if like anyone else did that, right? Imagine if anyone on the right wing. Well, you saw, look what happened when Marjorie Taylor Greene made a certain comparison, right? Oh my gosh, you can't say that. Just notice that. Just pay attention to the shirt she's wearing, okay? The animal holocaust. By societal standards. Again, I'm not for, I'm not for censoring or, getting offended, but I'm just saying by societal standards, this would be highly inappropriate if a right-winger did it. Just pointing that out, but here we go.
Veganism's going out of fashion. Meatless Farm announced their ending production. Beyond Meat shares crashed 95%. Most vegan companies in this country, lack of consumer demand now. I think people have got a bit fed up with it. I think one of the reasons is they're fed up with being shouted at. You're one of these people that runs into restaurants and plays, sounds from screaming animals and abattoirs and so on. I know you care passionately about it. I think it's very off-putting. It's a bit like the Just Stop Oil protesters doing a lot of their stuff. It just annoys people. Has the opposite effect to what you hope.
I'll tell you what else, though, Piers. I don't think it's just because vegans are annoying, which they are. They're very annoying. But I also know of a lot of people, especially women, who have tried going vegan, because this is fad, people think it's healthier, there's less fat or whatever. And they report very adverse side effects, right? Most women I know who've tried to go vegan, they report, oh, my hair was falling out, so I had to stop. And then men, as you can imagine, you don't get the testosterone or the protein necessary, the non-plant-based protein, I should say, necessary, as you can imagine, right? It is not biologically correct. And I think a big reason veganism has not lasted as a trend, and yeah, you're right, is dying out, and no one's really, do you really know that many vegans anymore? It's dying out, not just because they're annoying, which they are, and unserious, but also, I would argue, a lot of people have genuinely tried to be vegan and they've just realized how unnatural and bad it is for your body, which it is, right? Veganism is not natural. Human beings are supposed to eat meat. They are. And I know the vegans say, oh, well, you can still get protein from plant-based stuff. It's not the same type of protein. Soy and plant-based protein and animal-based protein are totally different things, okay? Just gonna say, but let's continue here.
No, I don't think so at all. I think it brings more attention to the animal holocaust. Animals are subjected to rape, torture, enslavement, abuse, and murder, and I'm bringing light to that. And I'm seeing
why would you use the word?
Okay,
why use the word Holocaust? Holocaust is the mass extermination of more than 6 million Jewish people by Adolf Hitler and the Nazis.
Well, that is one Holocaust in history.
Why would you evoke? People know that as the Holocaust. Why would you use that kind of very emotive language, knowing it would offend a lot of people?
Well, it's just a factual statement. If you look at the definition of a Holocaust, it is slaughter or destruction on a mass scale. Multiple Holocausts have occurred throughout human history, and non-human animals can be subjected to the same atrocities that humans can. In fact, it's the...
I knew so many girls like this in high school. This reminds me of high school. Look at the way she does her hair, the makeup. You fellow Gen Zers, you know what I'm talking about. If you know, you know, right?
Largest Holocaust in history, with 3 trillion individuals brutally murdered every year for human food consumption.
All right, Tommy, you're from a ranching family. I don't know about you. I don't mind people being vegan. If you don't want to eat meat, it's absolutely fine. And I get some of the reasons why they don't want to, personal choice, they care about animals and so on. Although I would point out animals eat a lot of animals, just for the record, naturally. What do you feel about this whole vegan debate? Are we getting bored with it? It seems to me from all the sales in the UK and stuff, it's kind of going out of fashion. Like it was a fad for a lot of people. They've gone back to munching meat.
Well, veganism is an ethic.
Oh, I'm asking Tommy, sorry.
Yeah, I think a lot of people realize that it wasn't, in fact, the healthier choice, because when they choose this Beyond Meat or these other substitutes, it's actually just packed with different fillers. So it's not actually this cleaner option like a lot of people thought at the onset of the whole vegan craze. But I got to tell you, speaking...
That's true. You guys remember when the older people on this channel, remember that video where we reacted to the vegan recipes? Remember that? They put so much salt and seasoning in this stuff because they're trying to make bland mushrooms taste like chicken. And so they basically douse the thing in seasoning and sodium and fry it up and do all this stuff. And then they're like, tastes like chicken. That's not healthy. There's no world in which that's healthier, right? The amount of seasoning, you have to deep fry it to make it remotely taste good. But guys, eating a normal steak is bad for you. You got to eat this mushroom that's like coated in salt and seasoning and fat and all this stuff. It is crazy. Now, one thing I will say, the common talking point is I don't have a problem with people being vegan. It's your choice. Just don't force it on me. I will say, I don't believe, obviously I'm not going to go to anyone and force you to eat a steak or whatever. But I will say, I do actually have an active criticism of the lifestyle. And I would argue it is unhealthy, it is wrong, it is something that should actively be kind of discouraged and ridiculed and promoted. And I would never allow my kids to be vegan even if they wanted to, because it's not healthy, it's not good for your body. And you can kind of see this. Just look at the physiognomy, look at the physical condition of vegans, especially vegan men. I think women can more so get away with it. But the big thing about being vegan, which is, I kind of argue this is a reason they want to push it on everyone, is it's really hard for men to get their testosterone boosting stuff in through just plant-based, right? Because that's where we get that stuff, that animal-based protein, right? There's a reason why, especially when you look at vegan men, you can always tell there's just something off about their physical appearance. They seem particularly just skinny and just small, even if they work out, even if they're quote unquote in shape. And I'd argue that's because it is just not biologically natural for men. Men especially, more than women especially, need meat. They don't just need protein, because people say, oh, well, you can get protein in a vegan diet. They need animal-based protein. And so, like I said, not going to force anyone to not be vegan, But I would say I think it's a lifestyle that we should actively discourage, and it's not a matter of your personal choice. I will actively judge you for being a vegan and try to get you to stop because it's not a healthy lifestyle, like genuinely.
Speaking of the animal holocaust, which I think is a ridiculous thing to say, I'm from a ranching family, I'm from a ranching state. There's nobody that cares more for their animals than those in the ranching and farming communities. Now, I'm against factory ranching and farming as well, by the way. I think that that's atrocious. I'm an animal lover.
I agree.
But as somebody who comes from a ranching family, I can tell you that ranchers and farmers care for their livestock dearly. Yes, it does at the end of the day turn into a product for human consumption. But that doesn't mean that it is always inhumane, that it's always disgusting, that it's this animal holocaust or genocide, as your guest was referring to it as. It's also really annoying to me when people try to say that animals are causing climate change. I mean, if you don't want to eat animals because you love animals, or you have a health reason that prevents you from eating animals, that's fine. But this whole environmental craze that we need to get rid of animals because they're causing climate change, that's also a step too far, and part of the reason why this whole vegan craze is going out the window.
Yeah, and Bear Grylls said recently, I was a vegan quite a few years. He said, but I thought it was good for the environment, I thought it was good for my health, and through time and experience and knowledge and study, I realised I was wrong on both counts. It was bad for the environment, bad for his health.
Yep.
He was never a vegan in the first place. Veganism is an ethical view against animal abuse and murder. If you're against animal abuse and murder...
He was never a vegan in the first place. So you guys got that? All you guys who tried going vegan in the chat who are saying it, you tried going vegan and, you know, you had problems. It's just because you were never vegan in the first place.
You never contributed to it.
It's all fake.
He wrote a vegan cookbook.
It wasn't actually a vegan cookbook. It contained animal abuse and
so you're saying
products.
Bear Grylls was a fake vegan?
He never was a vegan.
He was a vegan?
No, absolutely.
You're saying he's a liar? He's not a liar.
No, well, I've looked at the cookbook.
You may
and
not
there
have
were animal
liked.
products.
Well, you may not have liked the fact that he went back to eating meat, but he was a vegan for quite a while.
Well, people go by that label all the time, but if they actually truly hold their ethical view against animal abuse and murder, then they would never turn back on veganism.
You know, Tommy, over here, I railed against vegan sausage rolls. I didn't like the way they appropriated the language of meat products. I don't think vegan companies should be allowed to use words like sausage rolls or steaks because that's meat.
True.
Yeah, exactly. And they're filled with soy.
By the way, I think, if I'm not mistaken, there's a country that made that illegal. It might be Italy. I'm not sure which one. There's a country that actually banned that. They said you cannot label impossible meat as meat. Like, you can't use that phraseology. You have to say this is whatever, but you can't say this is impossible sausage or beyond sausage. You can't be misleading about it. But I will say the fact that they have to do it does kind of tell you, oh, human beings are not meant to eat meat, and, you know, it's so unnatural. This is what they say. They say human beings are natural, you know, herbivores, and it's a psyop. You're not supposed to eat meat. But in order to perpetuate the vegan movement, they have to create fake meat out of soy products. Yeah, what does that say? Yeah, many such cases. All right.
And fillers and other disgusting things that you actually don't want to put into your body. And meat tastes good. That's why all of these fake meat companies try to make it taste like meat.
Correct.
It never actually comes to fruition because it still tastes like crap. And I would also point out, during COVID, when we were having shortages in the grocery store, if you looked for meat, it was sometimes hard to find, at least here in the U.S. But that Beyond Meat crap, that was always available because people don't want it. The consumers are deciding that they want maybe an organic option, maybe a free range option, but people still want to eat meat. And you can eat meat and respect animals at the same time. It can be done. It's been done since the dawn of time.
But we are beyond meat now. We're going back to munching meat. I love meat. I won't be persuaded otherwise. And I think there are better tactics than running into restaurants and playing noises of screaming animals. Personally. But thank you for coming on the programme.
So let's actually ask that question, though. So why does meat, like Tommy Lahren says, why does meat taste so good to us? Okay, let me make sense. All these people are, atheists, evolutionary believers. They believe in evolution. So have you ever considered that maybe the reason meat does taste so good to us as humans is because we are supposed to eat it, right? Whereas, I mean, this might be a hot take, but hear me out. Whereas vegetables are kind of in a way a psyop because vegetables don't taste good to us, and maybe, I'm not anti-eating vegetables, but it's actually kind of a psyop in my opinion. It's propaganda, this idea, just eat less meat, eat more vegetables. Do you see why that could be the case, right? Because evolutionary, like if you believe in evolution, you believe over time we develop the traits that are favorable to our survivability, then why is it that us human beings, we think meat tastes so good and we always want meat and we always have a constant craving for meat? Could it be because the human beings historically throughout ancient history, according to the theory of evolution, which I honestly don't personally believe in, but just using that logic, right? Could that be because, you know, the human beings who ate meat were more likely to survive than the human beings who didn't, because they were stronger, they were healthier, they were faster, all of that different stuff? I would argue that from a scientific perspective, you could easily rationalize and understand just the very fact that meat does taste good to us, in my opinion, 100% proves that human beings are supposed to eat meat. I don't know. That's just kind of my thoughts on it. I think you can evolutionarily understand that. Furthermore, what I will say about this evolution thing is that, you know, even if you want to be the scientific materialist about it. Now, the reason I believe, right, in eating meat is because the Bible, God, gives us, you know, dominion over the plants and animals of the earth, right? That's clearly stated to us. But from a scientific perspective, even if you want to talk about evolution, right, you know, that's part of the food chain, is it not? The rest of the world, you guys say that human beings are animals. So what's wrong with us acting like animals and taking advantage of the food chain either? I don't know. My opinion on veganism, though, it's just totally backwards. It's wrong. I would argue in some ways, I kind of see the ways in which I'd argue it's satanic in many ways, because it basically takes, like I said, and this is my religious belief, but, you know, it's true. Human beings, right? God gives us dominion over the earth, right? Over the plants and the animals. Plants and the animals are down here, right? We have dominion over them. We are given by God authority over them. And what does Satan try to do? He twists it and says, no. Plants, animals and human beings are the same thing, and they all deserve the same equal rights when they, you know, very obviously, clearly don't. There you go, right? And then obviously all these vegans are forced down a diet and a moral code that is frankly just completely wrong and backwards. I don't know. That's my personal thoughts. Let me know yours on veganism, but I do enjoy talking about this topic. I will say, I think we got to talk more on this topic on this channel, because the vegan question, honestly, one of my favorite things. And you know, people, it's interesting. People don't usually click on it when it's a video, but they always enjoy listening to it when they do. So I don't know, maybe we got to talk more about veganism. But all right, let's get caught up here on our super chats. And then we got one last story to talk about in regards to the 2024 race. And then we'll do Q&A and super chats for the rest of the night. So if you got stuff you want to send in, feel free to send it in now. Again, your super chats are the best way to support the channel. And of course, be sure to sign up for our email list at thevincedao.tv.com. But all right, we got a super chat here from Zachary for $5. Says, I would argue that though the Sikhs make veganism or vegetarianism, I'm not sure, tastes good. I had it twice. I know that because I'm Asian, obviously. My grandma used to make a lot of like tofu stuff growing up. So, you know, there's this thing she makes out of like bean curd or tofu, but it's supposed to be fish. And it is actually pretty good. I did quite enjoy that growing up. So it is true. There are vegan things that taste, or vegetarian that taste good. Everyone who's had, I've never touched actual impossible meat because I refuse to. Everyone's always been like, try it. It's so good. I will not touch it out of moral principle. I don't care how good it is. But I've heard people say it's pretty good, right? I'm not denying that it probably tastes good, but nutritionally, it's terrible for you. And really, I just cannot imagine, right? You're creating meat in a lab. You're synthesizing all these chemicals to taste like meat. I'm sorry, my natural instincts say in some way that has to not be that good for you or cause cancer, okay? And, you know, I'd have to imagine that's true. And Piers Morgan does raise a good point, which is all this lab-based meat movement is failing. You know, when's the last time you even saw that in the store? The impossible meat. I guess, you know, I should rephrase that. When's the last time you kind of saw someone eat it or heard of anyone buying it, right? It is dying, but now what they're trying to push is lab-grown meat, right? That's what they're trying to push it out. And if I were to guess, what they're probably going to do, the FDA, I would guess, is they're going to try to not really distinguish, because everyone's going to be like, lab-grown meat, I'm not going to eat that. But the FDA in this country and the USDA are evil, okay? As I always talk about, excuse me, let me take a sip of water. As I always talk about on this channel, the food and drug system is so evil in this country. I guarantee you, what they're going to do with the lab meat stuff is they're going to label it like real meat, and they're going to just say, look, it's grown in a lab, but it's meat. It's real meat after all. And you're going to have to read the labels and know the labels very carefully to know if it's lab grown or not, right? I guarantee you that's what's going to happen. And so they're going to try to sell you lab meat in the same section as the regular meat and hope you don't notice. So I guarantee you that's what's coming next. It is true. But anyways, we've got a member chat here from Small Graydon guy who says that vegan teacher is the devil in disguise. It is true. Like, I know that's a hot take. It's like, you know, vegans, Vince, you might disagree with them. Do you really think they're agents of Satan? Well, in some ways I do, because like I said, the core of their moral belief system is inherently satanic. Because like I said, there's a natural order that God creates. Human beings have dominion over the earth and the beasts of the earth, right? And what does veganism say? It says, God, you are wrong. Actually, you know, human beings and animals have the same rights and they're the same thing. And, you know, a cow has the same rights to free speech, apparently, as you know, as a human being does. And that's ridiculous. You know, it's wrong. And frankly, it is satanic. So I absolutely believe that, you know, I mean, I'm sure many fellow Christians will say that's taking it a bit far. No, that's a bit much, you know. Who cares if they're vegan? I believe it. I don't believe that them not eating meat itself is maybe satanic, although it's very bad for you, and you know. But I do think, yes, the moral code that veganism is founded on, it's not just a matter of I disagree with it. I think it is, like I said, fundamentally satanic. That's just my belief. Because, like I said, it puts human beings and animals on the same level morally. And that's a totally screwed up view of just human rights and human authority completely. So, I do believe that. But anyways, let's move on here, folks, to last story of the night. Very briefly, wanted to talk about this really quickly. So Vivek Ramaswamy, ladies and gentlemen, we've been talking about him a little bit on this channel. But for the first time ever in a national poll, we're talking about 2024 now, Vivek Ramaswamy has tied with Ron DeSantis. So check it out. This is a poll from Kaplan Strategies. And as you can see, Trump is at 48. Ramaswamy and DeSantis tied for 12 here in this poll. Okay. And that is pretty significant because we just have not seen that happen yet. Now, before you come to me, Vince, that, I already know what you're going to say. Okay. It's one poll. A lot of people are raising questions about the way the poll was conducted. That's not my point. Understand? That's not my point. Okay. This is not to say, I'm not trying to say by looking at this that Ramaswamy is legitimately in third place. But it is to say this, right? However you feel about this poll, the methods or whatever, let me just say that 3 months ago, I don't care where you did the poll. Outside of Vivek Ramaswamy's own household, maybe, you would not see poll results like this, right? I don't care if it's the straw poll at a Trump event or a DeSantis event, right? Or this or that, or this random sample or that random sample. I don't care. It would have been impossible 3 months ago to take a random sample of any class of Republican voters and find Vivek and DeSantis tied for second place. Like, you just would not see that happen. And so that's my central point here. It does tell you a lot. Like I said, I'm not saying that these numbers are accurate, but just the fact that any random sample you found, like a random sample of Republicans in general yielded this, does tell you two things, right? It tells you, first of all, Vivek is doing a really good job, right? Because all the polls, even outside of this, they're showing him going up. They're showing him getting close to DeSantis. That's the point I'm trying to get at. Again, I get it. It's just one poll. And secondly, what it's showing is that, you know, DeSantis overall, he's struggling. Let's be real. He's struggling politically to do this. You know, he's not running, in my opinion, a very good campaign so far. His publicity is not great, right? He's doing a bad job of garnering attention. He's not being seen. He's not really being heard. And it does tell you a lot. I think it's a landmark moment in this race. We'll see where it goes. We'll see what ends up happening. But I do think it is significant. I think it's a landmark in this race that for the first time, again, Vivek has tied with DeSantis, okay? That just means something. That would have never happened. That would have never happened a month ago. So it does tell you a lot. I mean, we'll keep you updated on this primary, on this race. Just wanted to share that news to the Vivek heads. I'm sure you're very happy. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Your guy now in second place per some accounts. But anyways, there you go. All right, folks, it is almost 9 o'clock here, so I will do super chats, questions, comments, Q&A here for about, 10 to 15 minutes. So we are now open, folks, to our super chats. Feel free to send them in. and I'm answering all the questions and Q&A and whatnot we get from the super chat. So here we go, folks. Let's do this. So, all right, let's take a look at what we got here. Sheeny Beanie sends a member chat who says it's paganism. I 100% agree it is paganism, and a lot of this leftist stuff is paganism. You know, they worship Mother Nature. They worship the animals, the cows. You know, on one hand, the cows, it's like neo-Hinduism, but on one hand, the cows are causing climate change. On the other hand, please don't hurt the cows. Please don't hurt the cows. You know, it's true. Veganism is neo-paganism. It's true. Again, guys, we are open here for questions, comments, and super chats. But let's take a look. Let me see if anything else has been trending in the last hour or so on Twitter. You know, it has been a bit of a slow news time. I have to say, you guys get that feeling? You guys get the feeling it's a slow news week? I don't know. I see that engagement, and it just feels like quite a bit is just simply not happening this week. But oh, here we go. I guess Joe Biden, by the way, here's the story. I guess Joe Biden gave a speech, and he said, how many times you read in that? Okay, just I don't know. Let's just check this out. This is just now. This is why we were live from the Bidenomics speech in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. All right, let's check this out.
How many times you read that a recession's coming? Even in Wall Street today said, no, they don't see a recession coming now. How many times you...
Okay, I think we got to listen to that one more time.
How many times you read that a recession's coming? Even in Wall Street today said, no, they don't see a recession coming now.
Ladies and gentlemen, our president. Let's go, Brandon. You know, I don't care. That was a based quote, okay? I fully understood what he was saying. If you don't understand what you're saying, I think he's just... What he is saying, frankly, I think that's just racism. You know, you're a racist, evil Nazi. That's why you can't understand what was just said there. And also, you're not vaccinated, of course. That's probably the other reason, you know? All of us who were vaccinated 20,000 times, okay? I literally took the vaccine 20,000 times. You know, we understand what he's saying because we have the super blood, but you don't know what Joe Biden just said when he said,
how many times you read that a recession's coming? Even in Wall Street today said, no, they don't see a recession coming now.
If you can't understand that, frankly, I think you support Hitler. Just to be totally real with you. But yeah, did you guys see? I guess they're redoing the Air Force One stairs so that he stops falling down on them. I don't know if you guys heard that news. That is a real story. They are redoing the stairs to Air Force One so that he will stop. Now I'm curious to see what they're gonna do. Are they gonna have one of those elevators? You know, the old people elevators. You know what I'm talking about, right? Where you just sit on it to go up the stairs so they don't fall down the stairs. What are those things called? I don't know. You know what I'm talking about, though, right? The senior citizen things. You know, the thing we should get for my grandma, but she's stubborn and wants to walk up the stairs all the time. You know what I'm saying? They're probably gonna put Biden on one of those. He's gonna sit down. Okay, Mr. President. That's probably what they're gonna do. It's just so real. All right, Sash McFlash for 5 Canadian. Thank you very much, Sash McFlash. Says here we go. He says it's transhumanism. Is it not very ominous that we are producing both meat for consumption and human embryos for breeding from stem cells? Klaus Schwab, thank you for the 5 Canadian. No, it is true. Yeah, it is true. That's why, to me, it's not enough to just say, oh, vegans, you know, it's your choice, just don't push it on me. No, you are a part, okay, of the agenda to literally destroy the world. I'm not going to just sit there and respect your personal choice. Now, am I going to literally, you know, by force shove meat into your mouth? No. But if you are a vegan, do not expect me to just sit there and be like, bro, just respect my choices. If for whatever reason I ever have dinner for a vegan, I will ridicule you and shame you the entire night for being a vegan. Okay, I will be so brutal and ruthless that I want you to rethink all of your life choices, because every single person in this country who is a vegan, you are buying in to the New World Order. You are supporting the New World Order. And I frankly have contempt for the things you are doing. So there's no mercy, okay? No mercy. We cannot relent. We cannot just sit there and say, oh, vegans, it's okay, it's your choice. No. You are wrong. You are cringe. And frankly, you are A certain 3-letter word that I'm not going to finish, to tell you the truth. That's what you got to do. That's what you got to do to these people. You know, this whole live and let live attitude, it got us to here, did it not? Oh, I don't care if you're vegan. No, I do care. You know why? Because we said, oh, who cares? All right, now state mandated veganism is the future, right? They're literally going to say, you know, don't eat meat, right? You know, lab grown meat, all this stuff. You know, now they're forcing it on you. And it's not just a matter, keep this in mind. You know, we always thought for years that the vegans were just these clowns outside of the burger restaurants who were just like, save the cows, you know, the dumb hippies that are just being annoying. No, they are endorsed. Understand this. The same thing with the climate change activists, right? The silly kids who just throw paint on stuff. It's not, they're the agents of the matrix. They're the agents of the regime, but ultimately understand it's all bigger than them, right? This agenda is backed by the very people at the top, right? So make no mistake about it. State mandated veganism is the future that they're trying to push on you. And so that's why I don't just sit around and say, oh, well, you know, vegans, it's your personal choice. I say, no. You will not be vegan in my presence. I will ridicule you for being vegan in my presence. And this is what you got to do. Okay? And if your friends are being vegan, don't just say, okay, well, you know, that's your choice. Just don't push it on me. No, bully them. You need to. You need to actively ridicule their choices because their choices are ridiculous. By the way, you're helping them in the process because veganism is not healthy. So, you know, on so many levels, it's the right thing to do. It really is. Kelly says, hey, Vince, watching from Panama City Beach, Florida. Well, shout out to our panhandle. We love the panhandle. I am here on the, what do they call it? The mainland. But yeah, shout out Panama City, you know. Kind of want to get a rental property there at some point, you know. We pulling up to the Airbnb, the VinceDao the Dow BNB in Panama City. Shout out Panama City, appreciate it, Kelly. Again, guys, you do want to support the show tonight, feel free to send them in. We're reading these super chats right now. 2% of global emissions come from cattle farming. But yeah, understand this, right? The reason they want to get rid of the cows is because red meat, and understand it goes further than climate change. That's one excuse. For how many years have they been telling you that red meat is bad for you, right? They say, don't eat red meat, it's fattening, eat chicken instead. And then don't eat chicken, eat veganism, right? That's always been a psyop. Red meat, if you look at it nutritionally, is the most nutritious. It has the most minerals, vitamins, all that stuff. It's actually way better for you than chicken. Oh, but Vince, it has more fat. Fat's not bad for you. Animal fat's not bad for you. That's a myth. That's a total myth made up by, you know, the food industrial complex. That's not true. Human beings have eaten animal fat for, I don't know, all of our history, right? And the other thing about red meat, the big reason they have such a war on it is that it's the best for male testosterone, right? It is. Beef is, you know, it's the best for that, right? Best for building muscle, best for boosting your T. And when you understand there is a war on, we always say there's a war on masculinity, there's a war on manliness. It's not just a cultural thing. It's a scientific thing, right? Literally the stuff they put in the food and the water and the everything and the things they tell you are healthy and not healthy. That's all part of the psyop. That's all part of it, right? You know, there's residual birth control in our tap water because our country's that screwed up somehow, you know? What do you think that does to men? All the receipt paper we touch, all the plastic we use, that has microplastics in it. When you touch microplastic, it goes into your skin. Microplastic is full of phytoestrogens, right? So all the plastic we touch and use in our day-to-day lives, that damages male testosterone. That's really what it's all about, right? It's the biggest war is on male testosterone. And then you wonder why sperm count's declining. I would also argue there's a cultural connection because you wonder why, you know, men these days, oh, well, where did the T go? Where did the testosterone go? Part of it is because of the stuff in the food and drugs and water. That's actually true. You know, it's not just cultural. It's actually scientific on a level too. So it is real. It is real. So eat red meat. Eat all the red meat you want. Try to get grass-fed, obviously. That's the only thing is corn-fed meat, antibiotic red meat. Yeah, obviously factory farm stuff's not. But grass-fed beef, nothing wrong with it. You can eat as much as you want. Oh, no, eat a salad. Eat a salad. Salads are psyops, too. Salads are... Who the heck eat... Can you name me a traditional dish in human history that was a salad? I feel like a salad, like, I understand vegetables have always been used for seasoning, texture. I'm not denying that. But when in human history did they invent a salad? I feel like that is actually fairly contemporary, because I don't think of any traditional dish in any culture that it's just vegetables. That's not a thing. Human beings are actually, in my opinion, not supposed to eat that. That's actually not healthy. That's not the natural human diet, right? That's part of the psyop too. That's, you know, like I said, they don't want you to eat red meat because red meat is good for you, and especially for men, it's good for testosterone. That's what the war is against, fundamentally, on so many levels, okay? I'd even go so far as to say that's why they don't want you to drive cool cars, right? Because I have no scientific data to back this up, but I just have a suspicion that driving a V8 engine and hearing a V8 engine physically boosts your testosterone. Source, trust me, bro, I made it up, but it's true. It's real, okay? This is all true. This is all true, all right? And this must be true. So it's real. Salad is a great bed for meat. Yeah, I mean, yeah, texture. Yeah, vegetables have been used for texture, but think about it, in the natural human being's state of existence, what do you use vegetables for? Seasoning and starvation food. If you're absolutely starving and you can't find food, then you eat vegetables, right? But there's no natural human inclination to eat vegetables. You eat fruit, yeah, sweet, sugar stuff, okay, fine, and you eat meat. Fruit and meat. That's kind of the natural human inclination of what we want to eat and what we find good, you know? So, source, the universe revealed it to me. Literally the case. Literally the case. Okay? Fiber is kind of a psyop. Salad is not a bad thing. It's a great way to get fiber and eat more meat. No, it is a bad thing because they want you to waste your calories on meaningless salads so that way that's why you eat less meat, okay? When I eat, I just eat meat straight, right? Most of the time. So I just eat the steak plain. When I order takeout nowadays, I usually get like just barbecue. I just get brisket, no sides, no. I don't even eat with sauce. I'm just like, give me brisket, just eat that, okay? Because anytime you waste calories on anything else, that's less red meat you can consume, and Greta Thunberg inherently wins. So this is true. All right, last 5 to 10 minutes. Any last call for super chats, ladies and gentlemen? Let's see. Salads are bloating. Real. There are other sources of fiber. Isn't there plenty of fiber in meat? I don't know. Who cares? Who cares about fiber? Fiber's fake. Vince, you can't tell me that roasted potatoes or roasted Brussels sprouts aren't good. Brussels sprouts are disgusting. Potatoes are okay. Potatoes are okay. Potatoes are good for you. Brussels sprouts are rancid. Okay, they're just simply atrocious. There we go. We got Greta Thunberg in chat. She says that is true. So there you go. There you go. Every time you eat a salad, you are helping her. Understand this. Understand this. Sash McFlash says, remember when Tonka trucks were metal, not plastic? Hot Wheels, die cast. Yeah, exactly. Notice now how it's all plastic, okay? Touching plastic's actually not good. It's not good. It's very true. Very true. So, you've never had my Brussels sprouts. Okay, well, I don't know. All I know is all the Brussels sprouts I've had are terrible. It's like torture food. Isn't there this one Dr. Seuss book or something that talks about how Brussels sprouts are like torture food? I don't know. I remember that from when I was in kindergarten or something, but you know, I get an alert on my phone. There you go. Greta Thunberg's on standby, okay? So every time you eat a salad, Greta Thunberg goes, what's the opposite of how dare you? Good job. Okay. And then every time you eat a steak, she says, how dare you? So which one are you going to want? Which one are you going to do? It's true. Barbecue supremacy, but you got to have some sides. That's the law of the South, Vince. Ramen head, that's why the South is so fat, okay? No, that's, see, yes, you're right, okay? When it's a place I've never had before and I'm on vacation, yes. But as regular cuisine, no. What do you get, the mac and cheese? That's why the South is so fat, like, truthfully, okay? Let's just have an honest conversation, folks, okay? The barbecue, the brisket, that stuff's all good. But, you know, you drink like a gallon of sweet tea and mac and cheese and grits and all this stuff. That's why the South has such an obesity problem. It's real, okay? And we genuinely need Southerners to live longer, okay? Because you look at life expectancy in this country. You know where it's the largest? California. But you're like, how is that possible? Well, the reason it's like that in California is because California, I grew up with that culture, right? It's a hippie thing. You eat organic food, natural food, and all that stuff, right? Whole foods everywhere. And it's very interesting because that's kind of become a left-wing thing culturally, but it's actually not in many ways, right? The reason the South has the shortest life expectancy of any region is because so much obesity, so much fast food, okay? We need to change the culture. You are wrong on that, Ramen Head. You are wrong. We actually need to fix the culture, okay? We need the South to live longer, demographically speaking. You can't have California having the longest life expectancy, because then who runs the country? This is an issue. This is an issue, you know? So the South is so far from the fast food. In the 1800s, they weren't fat. Yeah, no, that's true. That's true. But, you know, the fake high fructose corn syrup, seed oil, fake sugar, fake fat, all that stuff. This is the issue. You know, you got sweet tea that's made of high fructose corn syrup instead of cane sugar. You know, this is part of the problem. All right, let's take a look here. Sheeny Beanie, or whoever this is. Yeah, Sheeny Beanie for $2 says fiber is a carb. Ergo, meat has no fiber. Sheeny Beanie, I don't care. Eat fruit. I eat fruit sometimes, okay? I'm just saying. The South will rise again. This is true, but in order for that to happen, we have to fix the obesity problem. Because literally, how are they going to rise if they can't stand? This is an issue. So this is what we need, you know. Granalicious says, if you eat strictly meat, it is basically impossible to get fat or be anything but ripped after long enough. This is so true. So, you know, it's real. It's true, which is why you need to have a great metabolism to live here. Yeah, real. Sweet tea is good, but dude, look at freaking. You look at Whataburger. You know, this is a prime example. Look how big. The cups are like this big. It's ridiculous, okay? And everyone fills up all the way. Their sweet tea is ridiculously sweet. I feel like if you drink one whole cup of Whataburger sweet tea in one sitting, already you probably have to be morbidly obese. Like, seriously. And this country has serious problems, you know, in terms of that stuff. And you know what I honestly hate? Is the idea that stuff, oh, that's American, and it's like unpatriotic to advocate against that or something. I'll give you a prime example. Maybe this is a hot take from me, but I can't stand like the hot dog eating contest. You know, every 4th of July we do the hot dog eating contest. I can't stand that. I feel like that's everything that's wrong about our country, right? Because you have this great country that has this tradition of, you know, in a sense, I guess it kind of ties from the tradition of kind of American liberty, right? This idea, yeah, it is kind of, we're kind of the frontier country, you know, the opportunity, you can kind of chase dreams or whatever. I get that sort of aspect of America. I appreciate it. But we boil that all down to this just ridiculousness of consumerism, right? We boil, like, America is just hyper consumerism and gluttony. And the hot dog eating contest, we act like, oh, that's so American. They're stuffing their face with hot dogs. Don't you understand that's the problem with our country, right? You know, mass obesity, terrible health, consumerism, gluttony. Like, that's exactly, in my opinion, what is wrong with the United States and why we are a dying people. And I look at something like the hot dog eating contest. I'm like, that's exactly what's wrong with America. That right there. You know, among other things, obviously, but that right there. And it's sort of, in a way, I think, degrading to what America actually is, or at least can be, you know? That we take national pride in something like a bunch of, like, people with eating disorders stuffing their face with cancerous hot dogs. You know what I'm saying? I think that culture about our country has to change, right? And this idea, whoa, haha, Europeans, do you have a gigantic thing of sweet tea this big? No, you're right. The Europeans don't, but the Europeans are also living a lot longer than us. I wonder why that is, you know? It's like we have a tendency to take pride in everything as a country, which I guess is a cool thing. It's part of our patriotism or whatever. But we end up defending a lot of things that I think are actually wrong, you know? I look at how big the freaking I'm going to just keep bringing this up. How big the sweet tea cups are at Whataburger. I'm like, that's what's wrong with this country. That is why we are a sick and dying people. That's why we are like physically unhealthy. It's that right there. But we say, no, man, that's America. Maybe it is, but I don't see that. I don't think that's a compliment. That is not a compliment to me, right? And to me, you know, the true ideal of American freedom shouldn't be, oh, I have the freedom to go to, haha, Andrew Cuomo, you're not going to touch my 32-ounce 7-Eleven Big Gulp. I have my freedom to go and drink that. That's not what American freedom and liberty should be. American freedom and liberty should be, like, I have my homestead, I grow my own food. Like, this is like a historic America, right? Either I grow my own food, or I go into town, we have this community, and, you know, everything is local, and we're tight-knit, and all this stuff, and the food's grown locally, the meat's grown locally, all that stuff. We hunt it ourselves. I have the freedom to go out in the woods and hunt it myself or whatever. That's what American freedom should look like, not Whataburger cups this big, okay? That's just my take on it. That's just my take on it. It's a rant about, you know, the hyper consumerism that is just wrong as a country, you know? It's true. It's very true. I am free to drink Baja Blast as I please. Yeah, exactly, right? Do you Europeans have this? I don't think so. I don't think so. You know, liberty versus licentiousness. Exactly. Traditionalism greater than capitalism. I agree. Let's take a look here. And anything interesting left in the chat here? Let's see. Joey Chestnut is an American hero. Don't you ever disrespect him. No, I will disrespect him, small Graydon guy. Why is that an American hero? What is heroic about that? Nothing is heroic about him. He stuffs his face with that is disgusting, okay? My American heroes, they storm beaches. They island hop into machine gun fire, okay? They land allegedly on the moon. You know? They build a $1 billion business. Real estate kings, and then take on all the forces of darkness and win the presidency in something no one expected, right? They crossed rivers in the middle of the night. Those are they cross mountains, right? They settle places that have never been settled. They tame a savage land. That's my American hero, small Graydon guy. And I will not allow the true American heroes of our country to be disgraced and shamed by gluttonous pigs like Joey Chestnut. Not gonna let it happen. Not gonna let it happen. You are falling for the psyop, okay? No, Joey's not epic. I will not back down from this, okay? I will simply not back down from this. All right? I disavow him, okay? He can be your American hero. He ain't no American hero to me. All right? He's an American laughingstock. You understand that? Do you understand the rest of the world looks at Joey Chestnut and laughs at us? You know? They don't look and think, wow, what a cool country. Wow, that guy. Or they're not jealous. They're like, look at those stupid Americans literally stuffing their face with food. That's what our rivals think. That's what our rivals think, okay? Do you think Xi Jinping is quaking that Americans, we have Joey Chestnut? You know, do you think he looks at that and is like, oh, it's so over for us. They have Joey Chestnut. We don't have Joey Chestnut. Do you think he does that? No, he laughs. He's like, ha, 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 look at those stupid Americans. They all go fat. And then he knows there are people in China, you know, they're like they like put their men through all their young boys basically do boot camp and all this stuff. Hey, brutal, okay? You know, do you guys not get it? They are laughing at him. They are laughing at him. And they're laughing at us for making him a hero. Okay? This is literally true. This is literally true. You guys just don't get it. You guys just don't get it, okay? I know it's a hot take, but one day you will all see that I am objectively right on this, okay? Hot dog eating contests are cringe. All right? Just saying. Just saying, okay? So, all right. We've got no more super chats. I'll probably wrap it up. Now that I've made everyone mad by counter signaling Joey Chestnut, probably wrap up the show here. You know, I'm just out of touch. Yeah, you're just not on my wavelength. You just don't get it, bro. You just don't get it, bro. This is true. This is true. Okay. All right, everyone's saying, oh, this or that about China. Okay, well, okay, let's take a different example. Let's look at, okay, forget them. Let's take a look at, like, Europe, okay? Do you think the yeah, I understand the Europeans have their problems, but, you know, how do you, I just use them as an example. Every other part of the world looks at something like a Joey Chestnut. It's like, what the heck is wrong with those Americans? What is wrong with them? And I concur. I'm like, yeah, what is wrong with us? It's true. It's true. Joey Chestnut stood up for the true American hot dog eating contest against the liberal lightning. Okay, but listen. All right, fine. Let's say that Joey Chestnut is actually a cool guy. He could harness his energy. You know, which, sure, he does have an impressive ability. Don't get me wrong. Imagine if he put that much time and dedication to something that actually benefited society, or at the very least was cool, right? At the very least was cool. If he put that much dedication into a sport, he could be Tom Brady, you know? At least he could be something that was cool to people. I don't know. I'm just saying. Okay? I'm just saying. You guys just don't get the point. You're not on my wavelength, okay? All right, anyways. Now that I've made everyone mad. All right, we'll wrap up the show here tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Be sure to join us live tomorrow night for the next episode of the Vince Dow Show here on the channel at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Be sure to leave a like on the stream before you go. Let's get the stream to 100 likes before you go. Or if you're absolutely offended by my Joey Chestnut take, you know, feel free to leave a dislike, I suppose. But all right, folks, until then, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Alpha moves only. God bless. Everyone have a very good night and peace. See you guys later. Yes, Aim, I am Vietnamese. Oops, I had the